buddy of mine and I try to camp twice a month, now that I have a vehicle that can be trusted to get me to some more remote area of our state. We planned a camping trip for this past weekend, February 18th to February 20th, 2021. We chose a fairly remote location we had been to the previous weekend. The previous weekend, we were the only people we'd seen within 1 mile of our camp spot. Friday night, we got there and set up. This story takes place Saturday night. It's about 9 p.m., so the sun was long gone, and the moon hasn't quite risen yet. It's pitch black out, other than our fire's light. Suddenly, we hear a man screaming. We listen intently, silently sharing an anxious look. At first, we were hoping it was someone drunk and having a little too much fun, but it quickly became obvious this wasn't fun party screaming. It isn't even like he's hurt. It sounds full of despair, anger, and anguish. I'm going to take a moment to remind you that this is 9 p.m., pitch black night, in the middle of nowhere with woods 5 miles from the nearest cell phone signal. We didn't see anyone for hours. The screaming continued for what felt like hours. It was probably about 5 solid minutes. We had no idea what to make of it and started feeling a little paranoid. We gathered up anything remotely close to a weapon and tried to come up with explanations of the screaming while keeping our eyes on the forest around us. After about 15 tense minutes of fear-induced paranoia, I nearly fell out of my seat as I watched a flashlight and lantern slowly enter our camp. I greeted the stranger with a basic, "How's it going?" before he even lit up by the fire. He responded quickly but flatly by asking if we could do him a favor. "That depends on the favor," my buddy and I said in union, obviously tense, holding our weapons close to us. The stranger proceeded if he can hang out for a second by the fire. Given the 2 of us and 1 of him, plus our myriad of weapons gathered from around our camp to within our arm's reach, we decided to agree and let him hang out. After a short second of awkward silence, I asked him what the hell was going on. He proceeds to tell me and my buddy that we were camping down the trail with his buddy, and that his buddy had snapped and tried to kill him. "Wait, what?" I said before the thought even finished processing in my head. "Is that the screaming we heard earlier?" The man slowly nods, staring blankly into the fire, and begins his story. "We were just hanging out. We came up earlier today, and my buddy just freaked out. He started screaming, and just wouldn't stop. Then he attacked me. He lunged at me. I told him to just back off and chill, you know. Well, he kept coming after me, and it started getting pretty violent, and I'm pretty sure he was going to kill me, so I grabbed my car keys, the lights, and ran. I don't know what to do, man. He chased me, and when I ran, I don't know what to do. We don't have firearms or anything, but we do have a hatchet." My buddy and I look at each other for a second, completely astonished. Then something horrible dawned on me. "Wait, he chased you? Like he's on his way here? Right now?" The man just slowly nods in reply. And right on cue, like some terrible horror movie come to life, we hear screaming from maybe 30 to 40 feet from our camp down the main trail. "I just want your balance, Gary. I want your balance. Where are you?" I never thought in my life heard a man scream like this. I never heard anything like it in my life. It was a brutal, guttural scream that was shrilled in my ears yet deep in pitch. The sound of someone gone completely mad. And the way he said the stranger's name would switch erratically from long and sing-songy to short, guttural punches of sound. We killed our lights and became silent and listened. By some miracle, the madman didn't notice our camp and continued walking down the trail, screaming along the way. We ended up chatting with who we call Gary for hours, listening to the screaming getting further and further. Come to find out, they had taken 4.5 or 5 grams of magic mushrooms each, and his buddy, who we call Ty, was a co-worker of his and was fine for 3 to 5 hours, then suddenly snapped. It seemed as though Ty thought he could kill Gary and steal his good trip. We heard screams get further and further for over 2 hours. By this time it's 11 p.m. The moon is starting to come out and it's below 30 degrees Fahrenheit. Ty had no jacket or flashlight according to Gary. My buddy and I are too drunk to drive out of camp and get cell service, as it was snowy and icy, and it required 2 or 3 miles of highway driving after getting off the trail. And Gary was still lightly feeling the effects of weed and mushrooms, so he couldn't drive either. We had to make the decision to let the guy wander, hope he sobered up and could find his way back. And he did. Oh, he did. Right into our camp. We heard yelling after an hour of no screams, maybe 30 or 50 feet from camp again. "Hey! Help! Please help me. I'm lost." We could tell the man's walking from the woods into our camp. We tell Gary to hide just in case, and greet the man with me carrying my 12 gauge shotgun and my .4 cal pistol holstered, my buddy carrying his AK-47 style rifle and his 29mm Glock holstered, and with our flashlights on our brightest settings in his face. He was about 6'2" or 6'3", and approximately 300 pounds. We talked to him, decided he was calm enough to walk with, and walked him back to his camp. He seemed really remorseful, and said he blacked out and didn't remember anything, and had a falling out with his buddy. We escorted him back to his camp down the trail and returned, and told Gary that Ty seemed cool, and if anything else happened to scream and come running, we would come out and help him out. It ended up being a happy ending. We made friends with Gary, and I got his phone number to make sure the next day he got back to town safely, back to his wife and kid, and we're actually planning a camping trip with him soon. I used to work in an industrial area that tends to be secluded and dark at night with minimum lighting along the roads. I also live close to this previous job, so I would walk home instead of taking the bus. The bus route tends to be awkward and have long waits, so I usually walk. One night in early October, I had been walking through a parking lot to get to my place. I had to walk through a few parking lots to get to my place. However, the parking lots close to the main road were where these incidents occurred. Anyways, as I am walking through the desolate parking lot, I'm listening to music and enjoying my walk when I get this suspicious feeling that I should look behind me. I look behind to see this individual wearing a hoodie, track pants, and appears to be maybe a woman. This person is pale and seems to be watching me after emerging from the bushes or trees she was hiding in. She picks up pace from behind me but continues to walk horizontally to me. I run across the main road, and when I look back, I can see her standing next to a set of trees. She then realizes that I see her watching me, and jumps behind a tree to hide. I go into some random apartments to hide from her and wait for her for some time. I then left and went to my place. I told my mom about the incident, and she said I should have called the police. Now, it doesn't stop there. So it's early November. I have a weird feeling that there is someone in this parking lot I'm walking through. I was walking through a different parking lot this time, as the previous parking lot had freaked me out because someone was watching me. As I am walking through this parking lot, the person wearing a hoodie emerges from hiding behind a parked trailer talking on her phone. I'm now thoroughly freaked out and decided to pick up my pace and get to the main road as fast as possible without alerting this person that I felt threatened by. As I'm getting close to crossing the road, this person decides to cross the road as well and watches me as I cross the road. I book it to the random apartment and hide in there as I assume she's gone. Now, the last time this happened was mid-November, a week after the second incident. I'm walking through the same parking lot I saw her the second time. Dumb, I know. This time she emerged from hiding behind a trailer and starts walking towards me. I decided to just run and get back to the main road. I get across the main road and look back, and she's gone. I assume she must have been hiding behind the trailer, as there was no way she could have gotten out of the parking lot in that time. I decided to hide in the same apartment building as well. Now, I haven't seen her as it's been snowing, so it would be significantly easier to see her face, and it's too cold to wait out in a parking lot. I no longer work there too, so I no longer have to take the route to work. Now, it could have been a man, as they were pretty tall, but I thought I heard her voice when she was talking on her phone, and when I saw her for the first time. I thought she might have been a white female with dark hair. I have not gone to the police with this information, but might. I doubt it will do anything, but my mom thinks it might.